Pesticides are arguably one of the greatest inventions of all time. They greatly influenced the course of the Green Revolution. In fact, food production has increased fourfold since the use of pesticides were introduced. It's simple to see the benefits of pesticide usage, but the negative effects can easily go unnoticed. With a continuously increasing food demand, farmers are constantly needing ways to increase their crop yield. Pesticides are sprayed onto the produce and ward off any unwanted organisms. The chemical serves as an endocrine disruptor that can prove fatal to both big and small species of pests. Every time a chemical substance is used to combat or benefit the health of a living organism, the organism gains a higher tolerance to the substance. This means that the next time the chemical substance is used, it will require a higher dosage to achieve the same effect that it had the first time. While the increase in tolerability is incredibly slow for case-selected species, larger species, such as humans, R-selected species, such as insects or plants, show exponential reproduction, which means their tolerance to pesticides increases more with each generation. Pesticides are targeted toward these R-selected species. This means that every year, more pesticides are required to yield the same quantity of produce as the year before. Naturally, more money is spent on chemical-produced pesticides than the year before. Humans are exposed to pesticides by breathing, eating, or absorbing it through the skin and eyes. This means that people who are applying pesticides and living in rural areas have the highest exposure and risk of health ramifications. DDT is a pesticide that was first used in the 1940s to control malaria, typhus, and other insect-borne diseases. In the 60s, evidence was found that DDT was too strong of an endocrine disruptor and therefore banned for all agricultural purposes. Glyphosate, a current controversial pesticide, is under review. The Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA, states that glyphosate is not harmful to humans, but that it could affect other plants within range of the spray drift. The EPA is unsure how glyphosate affects pollinators like bees and monarch butterflies if over a certain quantity, but under that level should have minimal effects. When asked about pesticides, Dr. Steve Lee, Associate Professor and Extension Specialist for Weed Science at Auburn University, said, "You will get different answers when you ask different people. If herbicides' drawbacks really outweigh the benefits, they shouldn't exist in the first place. Herbicides certainly demonstrated their advantages versus conventional weed control methods and are heavily adopted globally." And when asked about integrated pest management, the alternative to synthetic pesticides, he stated, "The biggest drawback of IPM is they are usually slow to show effect and expensive. Many IPM practices are not feasible for farmers to adopt because of the cost increase, and this is even true considering government incentives to increase adoption." Alternatives to chemically produced pesticides are non-synthetic pesticides or integrated pest management. Examples include wolf spiders to consume harmful insects and pyrethrum, a combination of 6 chemicals produced from chrysanthemum flowers. It's a substance that insects avoid because of the defensive mechanisms of the chrysanthemum. With any pesticide, however, various amounts may have various effects on the environment. The EPA labels different pesticides based on the level of toxicity provided by specific levels of exposure. These levels include danger, poison, which is highly toxic, warning, which is moderately toxic, and caution, which is slightly or non-toxic. Even though these levels exist, the highly toxic methods are incredibly uncommon and are only toxic when initially dispersed in the field. The reason non-synthetic pesticides are not used is because of the price difference between these safer methods and chemically produced pesticides.